Cameron Bertuzzi and Braxton Hunter discussed something atheists do, and their point seems to be a fair point to make. However, the more they talked about it, the more they showed their point is based on a misunderstanding. A link to their video is in the description. Feel free to check it out. As they explain it, Cameron and Braxton have a problem with atheists who say they both lack a belief in God and compare God to something they believe does not exist. This seems to be in conflict, as then you would hold both a neutral position and a definitive position. Cameron made some images, of which I'll use some to demonstrate their point. Christians hold the position that T is true, and with it they have a burden of proof, which they fully accept. But when discussing this with atheists, they see how atheists shift between no position on T and T being false. As you can't hold both positions, this seems fallacious or even disingenuous, as Cameron and Hunter point out, rightfully so. This led them to come up with a dilemma. You'd have to pick one position and defend that, as you can't hold both positions. The dilemma is picking the position. Problem is that this is a false dilemma. You can hold both positions. In fact, I do so all the time. I can, because God in point A is not the same God as in point B. This may seem to be a cop-out, but the thing is, I lack the belief in the concept of gods. Undescribed or unspecified gods may exist. They may not exist. I do not know if they do exist, but as I have seen no evidence that they do, I see no reason to assume that they do. So, I hold no definitive position on whether or not they do exist. This would fully depend on whether or not I am convinced by arguments or interpretation of evidence either way. As those gods are unspecified, becoming convinced either way will not happen. But when we speak of specific gods, for example the God of the Bible, then I hold the position that they do not exist, usually because the description or specifications of that God are in conflict with each other, or because the religious doctrine describes that God violating his own rules or acting not according to how his character is described. To put it simply, when you describe something being completely blue, then it cannot also be completely yellow. If it were both blue and yellow at the same time, then it would be green. So, when a God is described with conflicting characteristics, then we know that this God cannot exist in the way that it is described. In short, as an atheist, you can say that you, A, lack a belief in gods in general, and B, disbelieve in specific gods due to their description being logically flawed. This is something I don't think Cameron and Braxton realize. They reason from their own perspective that Christianity is true, as Cameron so subtly mentions on his channel. They look at their own religion. Atheists look at all religions and, without picking a specific God, we can bunch them all together and say, in general, I lack the belief in gods. Why don't you specify your specific God to me and I will reassess my position? It isn't until we assess your arguments that we move from one position to the other. With new arguments, we constantly repeat the process. Hence, the shift in position is not fallacious and the dilemma is not a dilemma. Thanks for watching, and please leave a comment if you have any.